Welcome to our second video in the series on how to build a solar generator. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how to size your solar generator to meet your needs. So there's a couple questions that you have to ask yourself before you start going out and buying equipment. You want to know what you want to power. When you know what you want to power, that's going to dictate how much power you need to generate and store on a reliable basis. Of course, number two, what is your budget? How much money do you have to spend on this? And that will get flushed out as we decide what we need to power and how to calculate that. And then how much room do you have to store all this? Both the equipment for the solar generator, the batteries, and of course the panels as well. So there's only one piece of math that you really need to know in order to kind of calculate your solar generator size. And this one right here, which you probably learned in high school sometime, which is how to calculate power. So electrical power is volts times amps, or current. So volts times amps will give you watts. Watts is the measure that we use with electricity to measure power. So what you need to do is to figure out what you want to power and how many watts that sums up to. So the easiest thing to do, I could give you a link, like a lot of people do, to, I don't know, what some basic household appliances, how much power it takes to power them. Or you can buy one of these kilowatts. I'll have a link here below on the video. They're about $20. And basically what you do is you plug in on this side here what you want to power, and you just plug this into the wall, and it will show you how many amps it takes, how many volts it takes. Well, the volts is going to be constant. Typically, volts in the US is 110 volts. That's always going to be a constant for AC power. And then the amps is going to vary depending on the load. And you're going to want to see if the amps, the current that it draws, is consistent. So for example, on a refrigerator, the compressor is going to be coming on and off and on and off and on and off throughout the day in order to cool down your refrigerator or your freezer. So this has also a great little feature here that will calculate energy. Energy is simply watts or power over time. So for example, my laptop, believe it or not, the laptop itself, a Mac, probably true of most laptops, goes up and down in power depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a lot of graphics on it, that's going to cause the processor to do a lot of work. That's going to draw more current, and so my power is going to go up. So I can see over time how much watts I draw throughout the day. And energy, what we're going to do is we're just going to sort of get rid of this hour here. We're just going to put everything in the same amount of time throughout an 8-hour day. Okay, so, or 24-hour day. And we'll kind of see how we add that to our pool in our calculations. So if you don't already have one of these, go to Amazon, $19 Amazon Prime, or any one of your local super centers will carry them, and then start calculating what you think you want to power and write it down. Use the watts, and it's kind of interesting to see how the electrical demand of these appliances, how they add up and accumulate throughout the day. So let's go ahead and look at just, for example, this office, how we size this office for the panels that we have for electrical loads. So in the office here, let's say we want to power 8 computers. And I've hooked up this kilowatt to the computers and the monitors. Sometimes a computer, a user is going to have one or more monitors attached to their laptop or their computer, and I want to sum up each workstation. So if I have 8 computers on average, I've calculated here with my kilowatt that they're using about 60 watts of power, and that's going to give me 480 watts, and I just figured that this is what's being used over the hour. So if I have 8 of those, I'm at 60 watts, 480 watts, and then if I do that over an 8-hour day, that's going to give me about 3,800 watts, or 3.84 kilowatts, because there's 1,000 watts in 1 kilowatt. So in case you're wondering sometimes what a watt is in a kilowatt, that's how that's calculated. So if I want to power those through the day, I need to generate 3.84 kilowatts for my solar panels. Don't worry about the batteries right now. We just need to be able to get that much power into the batteries every day. So I have two, let's see if my panels work. I have two 260 watt panels. And let's just be conservative and say I'm going to get 6 hours of daylight at that 260 watts. And so if I multiply two panels times 260 watts times 6 hours a day, I'm generating about 3.12 kilowatts throughout the day. This is what I believe my demand's going to be, 3.84. So you might say, Gary, you're not going to have enough to power these 8 computers, these 8 laptops. Well, actually I am, because just like all the appliances in your house, they're going to be staggered in use. Sometimes we have people in meetings. Sometimes they're working at somebody else's desk, or they're at a client site. So we have found that this right here, 3.84, is actually quite a bit less, and I'm able to consistently power those workstations with these two panels. Okay, so there's the math involved to kind of get you in the area, and then you're going to find out what's going to be the actual real world usage versus what you did theoretically. Okay, now, so this is what I need to generate 3.12, but also what do I need to store? Okay, if I use my batteries, I need to fill them up. If I'm using 3.8 kilowatts, I need to be able to store that in my batteries as well to charge my batteries. Okay, well, so I need to be able, we're going to go, when we go into our battery video, I'm going to go into about how 3.1 kilowatts, which I'm generating, I actually need to have batteries that will store twice as much as that. And the reason is that you're going to find that your inverter, just about every inverter, is going to shut off at 50% battery capacity. So this generator and the batteries here are going to maintain voltage between 13.5 and 11.5. And about 11.5 is where, on a 12 volt system, is where this inverter is going to trip off, which is about 50% of my battery capacity. Because these inverters just they can't produce the AC past that. And so I need to have a battery capacity at twice of that so I can store the energy that's being created. And we're going to go through how that's done on the batteries in a video unto itself. So anyway, get yourself a kilowatt and go through and start measuring what you think you want to power off of your solar panels and your solar generator. And then we're going to go through how to look at the different panels to make that happen. Then we got to have the equipment that matches the panels and the batteries, because not all the equipment connects nicely and works well together with all the other equipment. So it's nice to know what the different type of equipment is, how to use it, and how it interrelates to accomplish our needs. Hope you found this second video interesting. Our third video will be how to use our solar panels, all the things that you need to know, the different sizes, how to mount them, tips and tricks on how to use them, what you need to do if you're in shade and how to calculate that into your usage and your generation capabilities. And that will be our third video in the series. Again, if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching it on the forum, you can post questions and we'll be happy to answer them in the next video series. And then as well as you can get the link to our GoToWebinar schedule, and you can ask questions live as well and watch the videos live. Thanks for watching, and we hope you found this useful. Thanks.